Hey, so we're here with Jamie Meltzer and Chris Filippone, the directors of Huntsville Station. I'm Paul Sprisi. I'm the director of programming for the festival, and we're so happy to have you guys to talk about this really powerful film. I mean, I think the really striking thing about this film is the incredibly exposed and intimate moments you get with these men. And so what was your interaction like with them when the camera wasn't rolling, and how did you navigate consent?
You want to do that, Chris?
Sure. Um, well, we mostly just, I mean, Jamie, it was mostly you taking the lead on that. I mean, in terms of just having conversations and explaining what we were doing. And I had the camera for the majority of the time. The thing I kind of discovered, or maybe we discovered in the process of making this was, we would have a short conversation, explain what we were doing in terms of filming, the first experiences out of people who were released from this prison. We're here every day doing this. And surprisingly, more often than not, people were open to being part of the film and being filmed. And I think part of it was the experience for them was so much bigger than our little film crew. I mean, it was mostly Jamie and I, and then we'd have someone assisting. So in that way, we were a really small part of their experience in those moments. And so we were able to, get access, even closer proximity and whatnot during the filming process.
Yeah, for the most part, people were really open. I agree. And there were definitely a few people that didn't want anything to do with what we were doing because the actual prison facility inside, they told them that we were there because we had to get permission even from them to film the exterior of the prison. And they said, don't bother with these like filmmakers or something. They said something disparaging about us. So we found that out and they were very suspicious of us. And what did they really know of us? So, I mean, I can imagine that they would be suspicious. But luckily, almost everyone eventually, saw that, our intention was just to sort of be there and observe and not really intrude on this moment that we were having. And then the other thing I would say about that and how Chris mostly achieved like this intimacy, because he was doing the camera, so he was really sort of spearheading the closeness that he was getting with the camera. I think that was really kind of key in the later moments in the film when we were just sitting with someone. It was really remarkable. We would just sort of set up and kind of sit with them with the camera, sort of just observing. And it was very profound to kind of break through in those moments and have them allow us to experience and empathize with the pain that they were going through. And I think we both felt really privileged that could happen. And sometimes it came right away with no prompting from us, just setting a camera, a frame, a composition. And then sometimes we would talk to someone for 45 minutes and then we wouldn't really start rolling. I mean, we might be rolling before that, but we would be talking with them for 45 minutes in preparation for one shot of them really saying nothing, but just sort of sitting there and experiencing the weight of the moment. And I think we didn't, Chris, you can speak to this too. We didn't really, that wasn't something that we necessarily went in knowing that we would get, but I think for us, it became the central kind of like interest and maybe even aesthetic of the piece, this quiet observation and this intense gaze that the camera kind of partakes of.
Yeah, I agree. And it was very, very organic. The first bus comes and then things really quieted down. And we wanted to while we wanted to stay in the parameters of the bus station, it was just interesting how the tone and feel of the space shifted after that first bus leaves. And you have these men who are here waiting and just capturing that moment a little bit differently and how the film kind of evolves. It's organic, but it's also aesthetically interesting. It became really part of the language of the piece.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit the sort of the final punchline of the movie where the guy comes by and throws the Bible in the trash? What was that? I don't even know how to I don't even know how to fathom that.
Well, we're really glad you noticed that, because I think this is the first time that anyone's brought that up in a Q&A, but I hope that an audience has kind of noticed that. Chris, I want you to take that though, because that was a good moment that I remember we worked on in the edit and had conversations about.
Well, we had a few shots of the Bible on the bench, and there was some debate over like how close do we have a shot of the Bible, whatever. But it was funny. I feel like it was kind of a discovery a little bit in the edit, in that we were like, okay, we want this sort of final shot of when they're cleaning up at the end of the day, and so we were capturing that. And I think he just tosses all the stuff in the trash can, that's left on the benches. And so I don't even know when we were filming if we actually knew that happened. I think we were filming, but probably thinking about other things and, whatever. It was the end of the shoot. So, but yeah, there was some debate about, like, between us, whether, do we include it? What do we include at the end? We had a variety of shots and things like that. But yeah, for me, it's always funny. Like when I see it, I mean, it's funny, but it also has this other, I don't know, I interpret it in my own way. It's certainly very open the way it is in the film. To me, it's almost like the utility of religion as a utility is not as, it's not as useful, when you're out into the world. But not anything against anyone who's religious, but for me, there's like an echo of that or whatever. But I grew up Catholic, so maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think, I love that moment and kind of the subtlety of it that some people might pick up or not. And we did try to play it. We were worried that it would be maybe too weighty, like too overly like metaphorical, rather than just sort of like an everyday thing that probably does happen, because these parolees walk out with their prized possessions, and very many of them did have a Bible, and many of them obviously took that Bible with them and cared for it, and etc. But I think for a lot of other people, and I assume for a lot of days, these Bibles would be left behind. And then you have this character, his name's Chris as well, in the bus station, who, sort of cleans up and does the phone stuff. And, he's just trying to like do his business. He's completely dispassionate about this Bible being anything special, I suppose. So there's I like the layers to it for sure. And we liked him as a character, like, and the idea of sort of like ending with him, even though he's not a traditional character in a documentary, he still stands out, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much for talking to us about your film. Such beautiful work, and we're so honored to have it at the festival. And it's great to talk to you guys. And you're in San Francisco and Oakland, yeah? Yeah, cool.
Thanks for programming us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, and up next we have Democracy on the Road to Save.